Hey you awesome people, it's Paul from e-commerce gold, and in this video I'm going to be talking about 6 ways you can improve your e-commerce store's SEO. So let's get started. Right, so number 1 is make sure your site loads quickly, because page speed is not only a ranking factor, but it also impacts on user experience as well. And I'm sure you've probably experienced this yourself. You've gone onto a website and it takes forever to load, and it just basically ruins your experience on that site. So you're generally going to click off and go somewhere else that offers a better experience. So page speed is really important, not only for SEO, but also basically conversion rates and things like that. It has a big impact on your site. And Google made it evident in 2020 that page speed is important because they rolled out their Core Web Vital update. Now, if you're not sure what Core Web Vitals are, they're a set of metrics by which your site is measured against. And if you go on tools like Page Speed Insights, which is Google's performance tool, when you run your site through it, it will give you a score out of 100 for your desktop and also your mobile performance. And when it comes to this, you do want to pay attention to your mobile performance, because in 2021, 55% of all website traffic came from mobile devices. So mobile performance is very, very important. But there's other tools you can use as well. One of my personal favorites is Uptrend's Speed Tool, because this allows you to test on different devices from different places around the world. And it's really good for basically testing the real world performance of your site. And when you are doing performance testing, make sure to test different pages on your site. A lot of people make the mistake of just checking their homepage, but this is the page that's probably going to get the least amount of organic clicks. Most people are going to come to other pages on your site. So check your product pages, your category pages, your blog posts. Check how your site is performing as a whole. Now, when it comes to optimizing your site for performance, there is limited information that a lot of these tools do give you. Google Page Speed Insights is very vague on the kind of recommendations that it's making, and you do have to do a bit of investigation as to what they actually mean. And it does depend on the e-commerce platform you're using as to what kind of control you have over the performance of your site. But there are some general things you can do that generally apply to all platforms. Number 1 is to optimize your images. This is because images are generally the largest basic element on the page. So make sure you're uploading the right size and in a web optimized format. Number 2 is to use a fast loading theme, because not all themes are the same. Some are coded much better than others, which means they have much better performance. And number 3 is to limit the amount of apps or plugins you're using on your site, especially when they're loading scripts on the front end of your site, because the more stuff that needs to load, the longer it takes for that page to load. So try and run your site as lean as possible. And number 2 is to do effective keyword research. But what do I mean by this? Well, this is where you find out not only what people are searching for, but also understand the search intent behind those terms. Because when you start understanding what the search intent is, it makes it easier to create content around those search terms. And when it comes to e-commerce stores, there's generally 3 types of search intent that you will create content around. The first one is informational. This is where people are basically in that research stage. They're trying to find out how to do things. So this is where things like guides, tutorials, things like that are going to come into play. The second one is commercial. This is where they know what product they need, they just need to find out which one is the best option for them. And this is where things like best of lists and product comparisons are going to come into play. And number 3 is transactional. This is where they know the exact product they want, they just need to find somewhere to buy it. And this is where product pages, and to a lesser extent, category pages come into play. And as I say, when you understand the search intent behind the keywords that you're doing the research for, it makes it easier to craft content and also basically tailor your site towards these search intents so you can grab people at an earlier point in the process. But I'll cover this a little bit more later. And number 3 is to optimize your product page. Now, there's quite a few different things you can do when it comes to optimizing your product page for SEO. But 3 of the main things you want to do is include the primary keyword you want the page to rank for in the product title, preferably near the start or at the start. Number 2 is to optimize your images. This is optimizing them for SEO. So make sure they're titled correctly, and you do this before you even upload them to your website. And then secondly, you want to add an alt description to them. This is where you add a description of what the image is, because this helps search engines understand what they are, but it also benefits some of your users as well. Because if you've got a visually impaired user, these alt tags are described through readers and it tells them what that image is to help them understand it. So it can be very beneficial to your site. And number 3 is to create a unique and original product description. Now, there's a common mistake a lot of e-commerce websites make when it comes to their product description. And this is where they create either really thin content, so it's like 1 or 2 lines long, or they just copy and paste the manufacturer's or supplier's description. You don't want to do this. What you want to do is create an original product description that's got enough content depth so it actually benefits your page's SEO. And also, when it comes to creating your description, you want to format it correctly as well. So use short, punchy paragraphs, include any important information such as specifications in bullet points, and sell the benefits of the product. Don't just sell the features, sell the benefits. Make people want that product. That doesn't have a massive impact on SEO, but it can impact your conversion rates, which obviously SEO is working towards. So make it work towards the whole process of trying to get more sales on your page. And number 4 is to optimize your category pages. Now, this is something that is commonly overlooked by a lot of e-commerce websites, but there is the potential to rank these pages for broader search terms than you can your product pages. This is because your category is a collection of products, isn't it? So you can optimize these for SEO, and you can do things like optimizing the title. Just the same way you'd optimize your product page title, you can optimize your category page title as well. And number 2 is you can add a description to your category page. And most e-commerce platforms will allow you to do this. Now, you don't want to add a 1500 word blog post to it. That's way too much. You just want to add a short description explaining what type of products people are going to find in that category. Because this not only informs human users, but it also gives search engines an idea as to what's available in your categories. And another tip when it comes to category page SEO is to not have too few products in any one category. This is because if you have a category and there's only, I don't know, 2 or 3 products in there, search engines can see this page as having very thin content, which means they may not even index that page, which means it's not going to be displayed in search results. So when you're setting up your product categories, try and include a good number of products into every single category. Even if this means you have to have slightly broader categories than what you initially would have liked, it can benefit your site from an SEO standpoint to have a good number of products in there, because then search engines aren't going to see that category page as having thin content, and there's more chance of that page getting indexed and also ranking as well. So number 5 is you want to add a blog to your online store. Now, I'm going to make a quick assumption here, and that is that if you're watching this video, SEO is an important part of your marketing strategy. Am I right? If so, let me know in the comments. Even if I'm wrong, let me know in the comments. But if it is an important part of your marketing strategy, you definitely want to consider adding a blog to your site. The reason is it can have many SEO benefits. The first one of these is you can create long form content, something that you can't really do on other pages on your site. So with a blog, you can add 1,500, 2,000, 5,000 plus words if the post demands it. You can add really long form content. And the second benefit is you can attract a far wider audience, because you can attract people who are searching for different things, different search intents. So you can attract people who are in that information gathering stage, people who are in the transactional stage, things you wouldn't be able to do if you just had your product and category pages on your site. But there's another benefit as well, and that is you can attract backlinks to your site. This is especially prominent with informative content, and I have included a link in the description below to my full written guide to blogging for e-commerce, where I go into things in way more detail. And I go through understanding search intent, the different types of content you can create, all different things like that to help you get the most out of your blog. And I say that's in the description below. So if you do want to add a blog, make sure you go and check out that post. But it can have many benefits, as I say, and it can attract backlinks, which can allow you to grow your site's authority, which benefits the rest of your site, because the higher your site's authority, the increased chance of other pages of your site ranking in search. And finally, number 6. So 6 that way or that way? Anyway, number 6 is links, and here we're talking about both internal and external links, because both are very important when it comes to SEO. Now, when we're talking about internal links, this is linking internal pages on your site together. And this becomes so much easier to do if you've got a blog with a good amount of content on there, because it makes it easy to link from one page to another. And you can link from blog post to blog post, or you can link from blog post to your category pages or product pages. And you can actually make it link so it's all relevant content that's linked together. So you could create a how-to guide on something, which could then link to the best tools for doing that job post, which would then link to your product pages or your category pages. And this benefits not only your SEO because it makes it easier for search engines to crawl your site, but also understand how these pages are related to each other. But it also makes it easier for your human users as well, because they may come onto your how-to guide, they realize that they need a product to do the job, they click on your best of list, go, oh, that's the best product I can buy, then click through to your product page and then go into your checkout and become a paying customer from that initial visitor. It can happen. So internal linking has a lot of SEO benefits. And then we've got backlinks, and these are very important when it comes to SEO. But not all backlinks are the same, and it's much better to go for quality links than it is to go for quantity, because one good quality link from a high authority site is better than 100 really crappy links from spammy sites. So you do want to focus on getting good quality links. But why are these important? Well, backlinks from good quality sites are basically like votes. They basically tell search engines that this site is good. It's a trustworthy source that you can rank in search engines because other people are voting for it, saying, yeah, it's quite good. So they are really, really important when it comes to SEO, but say it's quality over quantity. And generating backlinks is one of the most challenging things when it comes to SEO. But there are quite a few different ways you can do it, and I'll leave a link to another post I've created on different ways you can generate backlinks for your e-commerce store. But a good way to do this is through your blog. This is because you can create really in-depth content that you can then do outreach for to try and get backlinks from high authority sites. So this is where a blog can be very, very important on your site. Yes, you can get backlinks to your category and product pages, but it's generally a bit more difficult than getting backlinks to a blog post. Now, there's some people who may disagree with me on that one, but that's just my experience. So there you go, 6 different things you can do to improve your e-commerce site's SEO. Now, I didn't go too in depth into each one of these because this video would have been stupidly long otherwise, but hopefully it's given you some ideas of things you can look at for your e-commerce site to hopefully improve your site's SEO and hopefully get you ranking higher in search. If this video has been helpful in any way, a like would be absolutely awesome because it helps me out with the almighty YouTube algorithm. So thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Stay awesome, and I'll see you in the next one.